All righty. Welcome, everybody, to the November 5th, 2025 Operations and Finance Committee meeting. I would like to call this board to order. And before just a housekeeping point first, pursuant to Board Policy 1B.5, all meetings of Salisbury Township School District are audio and video recorded. With that, I'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Gaither.
Here.
Mrs. Glenister.
Here.
Mr. Ganal.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mrs. Klinger.
Here.
Mrs. McKelvey.
She's here.
Yep. Mrs. Nemitz.
Here.
Mr. Riccaboni.
Here.
Mr. Spinner.
Present.
All present.
All righty. Thank you very much. Any citizen comments this evening? Seeing none, we'll move right into the operations portion of the evening. And I believe we only have one topic for this evening, Tom, so take it away.
All right, so good evening, everyone. Tonight's agenda item 2.1 is more information on the solar, which we heard during our last operations meeting. The administration, Lynn, Dawn, Bill, worked with McClure to get the latest update, and they're going to walk us through it. So, Bill, you want to start?
I'll introduce Mark Gallup. We saw him here last month. Brought him back out because we believe there's a little bit of confusion on the overall numbers. Like this one right here. This will work better. Mark Gallup with McClure. We brought him back out to make sure that everybody was clear on the numbers for our investment, for McClure's investment, and for the long-term possibility on savings. So you're going to see a lot of the same, similar what you saw last month, with some updated numbers and hopefully a little bit better clarification.
And I'm going to give a spoiler alert. We are recommending we move forward with this project. We did review this updated slideshow. You have two slideshows in your board docs. There is an updated one also available for the public if you're looking at them, which has some additional clarity. So we are recommending we move forward with this. Just want to give that context to you as you're listening to the presentation. We also have online, joining us via Zoom, Chris Stoltz as a member of the team.
So thank you. Appreciate you having me back. I guess I didn't mess things up too bad the first time, so I appreciate you having me back. But yeah, two things I wanted to I guess kind of apologize for. One is that the presentation I provided that was in your board docs, it wasn't communicated well as to what the savings were. So and thank you to the administration for kind of pointing that out and giving us the opportunity to update this. The information is the same in this new presentation. It's kind of shown a little differently and a little more understanding. And I'll explain how and why as we get to that point. So as Bill said, you're going to see a lot of information in this. It's pretty similar to what we showed last time. Yep, you're good. You were good. The first slide is what we call our utility bill analysis. This is your 4 buildings. And what we simply do is assemble all of your electric bills and create what we call the baseline for your electric use for each one of those buildings. So you can see right there, as you would expect, that your high school is the biggest user. Your middle elementary schools kind of follow that high school. The next slide shows the map of the area, and those red circles, if you can kind of see those on the screen, those are a 2-mile radius. What that shows is, yeah, thank you very much. What that shows is...
Vanna!
You're good. You're good.
I'll take a vowel. What that shows is the schools that are within a 2-mile radius of each other that we can virtually meter. So for buildings that we are able to offset more than 100% of the electric use in that particular building, often we can virtually meter those excess generation to the other buildings. So what you see here is your middle school is outside of that range. That's kind of a standalone building, but your high school, elementary school, and admin building are all within that 2-mile radius. And as we see here in a minute, you do have the potential to overproduce for your elementary administration building and apply it to the high school. Next slide. It's okay. So this is your elementary school. This is a rendering of the solar panels as we have them designed. I wanted to be a little more specific because this didn't come out real well last time. When we say that you're able to offset 103% of the usage, that includes the administration building. So that array, as it's shown, would produce 103% of the electric used by this building as well as the elementary school. If we were able to do the lighting upgrade, and if you choose to also include the lighting upgrade, that actually jumps up to 125%. So that gives you an extra 25% that you could apply to your high school usage, because as you're going to see in a minute, we don't fully offset the electric for that building. Next slide is your middle school. That's a 90% offset. That building is already LEDs, so there's not much we can do with the lighting in there. However, there is some potential to increase that 90% offset slightly as we go down, and we do that through the tilt of the panels, so we can get a little more production out of them. So we're still flushing those out, but this is we should end up right around the 90% offset range.
Just one quick question.
Yes.
I noticed this here there's sections of the roof that it looks like you guys didn't consider any, was there a particular reason for that, or?
So it's
Side towards the parking lot there.
in the front of the building.
No, to the side parking lot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it could be direction of the building. Chris, do you have any input into why we didn't consider the lower area?
Yeah, that center part of the building you see there with the panels farthest to like the north and east towards that side parking lot is actually up higher. So it creates a shade.
Yeah.
So you see like there's you see some of the shadows already like casting out onto the lower roofs. So what happens is in the solar strings, when you shade even a part of a panel, it takes down the entire string. It really impacts the efficiency of that string to produce. So once you start putting in areas that are going to get hit with shade for a majority of the day, a majority of the seasons that they're out there, you lose that ability. Plus, there is area there, but if you look at the stuff that's on the roof, some of the roof obstructions don't allow you to pack the panels in there very well. The tighter and closer they are together, the better. It shortens up the electrical run, so it just became cost prohibitive to put 6 or 7 panels in some of the empty spaces that you have.
Thank you.
And here's your high school. From the arrays that we have shown on this building, it would offset about 65%. If we were able to do the lighting upgrades in there, that would jump up to 73%. So you would be approaching full offset with the excess from the elementary and the admin building when you apply that to the high school. Won't fully offset, but it gets close. So one of the requests when we were here last was to take a look at the bus garage and this admin building. And we did that. So this slide is kind of shows you what the arrays would look like on these buildings. However, we're not recommending it. We're not recommending it for a couple reasons. If there are any buildings that are going to need structural work to accept these, it would be these 2 buildings. That's number one. And number 2, it actually doesn't generate that much savings over the term of the PPA. I think each one was somewhere in the neighborhood about $5,000 a year. So it didn't seem to fit what we were trying to do here. The next slide talks about the lighting upgrade. So when we were here last time, this is exactly the same as we showed last time. What we're proposing is an upgrade to the lights to LED, and that's to lower your baseline electric use for the buildings, and that allows you to offset more through the solar panels. So what we did is we did surveys and looked at what it would take to upgrade, retrofit the fixtures to LED. So that's shown here. That's $607,000. That is a first cost, and we're going to talk about how we're procuring these on the next slide. But it really generates a lot of savings, and when you tie it into the solar, it really makes an impact. And we're going to show you both of those here shortly. So to make all this happen, there's essentially 4 contracts. There's 3 PPAs, one for each one of your buildings. Those are no upfront costs. Those are to install the solar on your roofs and sell you the electric at a reduced rate. Additionally, to do the lighting, there is an amendment to your existing Guaranteed Energy Savings project. That is for that $607,000. That would be a cost initially. But again, when you see the next couple slides, you see the impact that reduction in your baseline makes in the term of the project. This is a pro forma, and this is what is different than what we submitted that's probably in your board docs. And the reason why is because of those two different procurement methods. The Guaranteed Energy Saving Act requires us to look at things over a 20-year term, and we had these broken out. So it made it really confusing. So what we did is we kind of put these together, and we created a combined cash flow. So this shows, oh, good. This shows years 1 through 20, and there's a line there, and that's meant to highlight where the Guaranteed Energy Savings Act evaluation stops, and then years 21 through 30 to show you the PPAs. So column 1 is the energy savings generated from the LED upgrades. Column 2 is. Column 3 is warranty savings. So you get warranty savings that come with the lights. Column 4 is the PPA upgrade or PPA project. So this is the electric cost savings that you would see throughout the term of the PPA. And then column 5 is combining both of those. The second thing we were asked about since we were here last was, what does it take to upgrade a roof, right? So how much additional cost by putting solar panels on it do you introduce when you need to do a roof? So we took 2 roofs, part of your high school roof and your elementary school, and we did some analysis with that. Now, when we submitted our original presentation, it wasn't very clear. Because what we did, it was essentially worst case, and it was basically if you were to do all your roofs and do full tear-offs, and that's just not how that's going to happen. So I'm going to take a trip up here to the screen to point some things out, if you don't mind. If you could go back to your high school. Absolutely. Okay. All right. That was it right there. So as I said, what we did is we basically applied that pricing for the full roof. But your high school doesn't need a full roof in 2034. This section of the roof and this section of the roof have been upgraded already, so they have a longer life on them. The roof that does need to be addressed is this U-shaped portion of the building. So that's the work that is potentially coming in 2034. So we reduced the scope of removing the panels. The other thing we did is, in the original slide, we showed it as happening all at once. That's not how roofs get replaced. So this building right now, as it sits, shows about 1,400 solar panels on them. Of those 1,400, about 400 of them are on the newer roof. So that leaves about 1,000 solar panels in the roof that would need to be replaced in 2034. We then took that roof and broke it up into quarters. So we said, okay, this roof isn't going to happen. They're not going to tear the full roof off at once. They're going to do it in sections. And we basically said, okay, probably about 25% of that roof is going to get done, and it's going to get phased. So if we were to take 25% of this roof, decommission it, move it to another section of the roof that isn't being touched yet, do the roof upgrade, move them back, reinstall them, and then move on to the next section, it actually reduces the amount of savings you're losing by those panels being decommissioned. Okay? So basically, it changes from 100% of your panels not being available for a summer to 25% of your panels not being available for 4 weeks. So it helped the economics of it. And it was kind of, again, that slide was a little misleading. And once we get a little more granular with how this would actually happen and what the cost would be for it, that's where we end up with can you go back to the pro forma there? Sure. These new numbers. So what we did is we took all of those numbers that we just discussed, we plugged in the future cost of that roof. So we took the current value of that, of the additional cost for a roof upgrade, and we escalated it up until year 2034 for the high school. And then we did the same for the elementary school for 2035. So it should give you a better representation of the costs you would incur when you did those roofs. When we do that, it does show a negative savings for those 2 years, but your accumulated savings stays positive. So at the end of 20-year term in the Guaranteed Energy Savings portion of the project, you're going to save about $2 million, almost $2 million from both of these projects. At the end of the PPA, you save $4.5 million.
Let me ask you a question, if
Sure.
I may. On the PPA, when you show the savings as it starts there, the top, Lynn, can you pull that down to 2027 or whatever it is? So you're showing it's 49, 50, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Why is it increasing per se?
It's a great question, and we're going to skip ahead 2 slides to answer that question. Yeah, so they're diverging curves. So the way the utility market works is this blue line is what starts at what you currently pay for your electric. Over the 50-year plus view of electric, on average, the Department of Energy says that rate increases 3.3% year over year. So this shows a slope of a 3.3% year over year increase. The orange is your PPA rate. So we're starting off lower, and the second thing we're doing is our escalation rate, as it's currently shown, is only a 2% escalation. So your savings grow throughout the term.
Mark, another important thing to mention about that curve is that with the PPA curve, it's fixed as part of the contract. So that 2% doesn't fluctuate with the market. It's 2% in year 1 and 2% in year 19 and 2% in year 28, where you have volatility in the utility cost. I mean, I think we've all seen that where 3% over the last 50 or 60 years is the average, but there's, in recent times, we've seen 10, 12, 15% increases. And a bunch of news articles just came out today from the PJM grid and their expectations based on the summer's market sales, that they're expecting it to go up another 10 or 15% on your utility bills in the coming months. So it gives you a set escalation in the PPA, whereas the blue line can vary greatly over the next 30 years. It might be twice the escalation or 3 times. We can only project out what history has told us.
Quick question. This is actually probably more for Tom and Bill. Looking at his plan for, something wrong?
No, I just didn't realize you had moved over there.
For phasing the roof replacement, 1, 2, 3, 4 phases, is that a sound plan, first of all?
Common practice.
Common practice, something that you would look at doing, okay?
You can't, typically on replacing a roof, they're going to rip off as much of a section as they can replace that same day.
Yep.
So it's done in sections.
Okay. And the other, I guess in my head, when I hear phasing, I hear years versus as weeks. Okay. Just so we're on the same page there.
Phasing, sequencing.
Yeah, okay, yeah. In my world, when we phase things, it's over years. Yeah. The other question is the estimates you have on the replacement of the roof cost. Ballpark sound about right?
Well, he's not estimating the cost of the roof replacement. He's estimating the cost of moving the panels from
Okay.
one section to
Now
another.
that makes more sense. Okay.
There'll be a whole separate project just for the.
Yeah.
Whole other bill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. If we can jump back up one slide. So So the other thing that we did is the admin said, well, what does this look like if we don't do the lighting upgrades? So this is the exact same chart laid out the same way without your energy savings from the lighting. Still a good project. You still, after 20 years, have almost $1 million in savings, and at the end of the 30 years, you have the $2.8 million in savings. So that lighting, when you look at it in terms of 30 years, is actually worth about $1.7 million in savings.
So this isn't as much for you, it's more for the rest of the board. So, and maybe Bill as well. I'm just thinking, like, looking at this slide, right? If we don't do the lighting at all, we actually still end up net negative up until 37, 38. So would it be a better idea to just put solar on the middle school, upgrade all the lighting in the other 2 buildings, so that we're not basically wiping out all of our savings, taking the panels off and putting them back on?
What do you mean by taking your panels off? The only
Yeah, until you, put panels on when you do the roof.
Well, no, because then you're going to lose all the safe harboring and everything else.
No, and I get that, but I mean, this is like 12 years from now. Like, who knows what's going to happen?
Right, but you're taking money away that we might not know we're going to have next time. You're rolling the dice.
No, I agree. I understand it's not, but, solar panels may be cheaper. They may be more, they may work better. I don't know.
Nothing ever gets cheaper.
Oh, that's not true. TVs, yeah, right? Like, it depends. As tech advances, it can. I don't know. It's just a thought. It looks, from this, clearly we should upgrade the lighting in my mind, but we aren't really making a financial benefit from the solar panels until, whatever that is, 2038. I can't go across with that. I need like a ruler.
So this doesn't show lighting on it?
No, I know. I'm saying, but from the solar panels alone, right? We end up negating all of our profits.
When you do the roofs?
Yeah, when we do the roofs.
Agreed.
And so that's why I'm asking, is it better just to wait to put solar on those until we do the roofs? And as Tom said, there's benefits to doing it now. I'm not trying to argue that it's not. I don't have a sense of what those benefits amount to, I guess, and whether or not it would be worth it to wait.
I think sometimes this is where it gets into the thought process of how the theory of scale of how you make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Are we making decisions for the district based on the immediate? Sometimes yes. Are we making decisions based on 10, 15, 20, 30 years? Sometimes yes. So it's a matter of how each one of us individually feel which way, because I understand your point and I understand your point, and they're both completely valid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of how does each one of us see that is this a decision I'm making for short term or long term? And long term, that is. Don, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, if you look the year before we have to take them off to do the roof, we've already saved $510,000 in our electricity. That almost negates the cost of doing the next year's project. So you can't even look at the 2034.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying, Dawn.
We've accumulated $510,000 in savings before we even have to remove the panels for the first school.
Yes, but we're spending all of that to remove the panels. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, but then we're preparing ourselves for what happens when we come down here.
No, and
We're putting a cost in that we saved up for, and then we're going to build savings from that point on.
But we don't have that cost at all if the panels aren't there. That's
You're saying the same thing.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
I guess
I'm saying it's like half a dozen of one or half a dozen of another,
Well,
but
we're
point
putting-
is after the panels are done is when we really see everything happening.
And that makes sense. And I'm not arguing that we should never put solar panels there. I'm just saying we're putting out money now to put on solar panels that we're not going to truly really generate a profit off of until 2038. And by that time, the solar panels are older, right? The technology may have advanced. I'm not saying it's the right answer. I just think it's something we need to consider. It's not, there's no doubt in my mind that putting them in the middle school is a good idea and upgrading the lighting is a good idea. The question is the other two buildings and their roofs.
Yeah, you're seeing it.
Look at the maintenance part of
I
what
have
you all
solar
do
panels, all
during
right? So my experience has been, I've actually reduced my total usage for various reasons. You find out there's more efficient other things that affect you. So you put that off. What happens is you get conscious of your electricity usage much better because of the solar panels. You realize the benefit of those typically. And if we collectively at this level, let's put it that way, and promote those things, you would reap the benefits before you even got to those 34. Because you're more conscious, you put more whatever you look at, you buy that's going to be more energy efficient. And to your point, things change between now and tomorrow.
Yeah.
6 months, a year. If you do that before then, it becomes a lesser an issue because you had a greater savings, and it also therefore helps off that stuff. And that's through experience. I'll just tell you that.
No, I think that's a good point. Yeah, it just, more efficient, whatever.
Right,
Appliances,
whatever it
whatnot, that makes sense. Usage, I don't know. Teachers don't care about how much electricity they're
No, but I'm
using.
saying if you had something much more efficient here,
Yeah.
and everybody's still using it, and it's twice as efficient, you're getting the benefit of all those things in all the schools.
And to that point, it kind of compounds, right?
Yes.
And it accelerates.
Absolutely.
One thing we're not considering is the savings, right? If we save money and we invest it like we're currently doing, and there's a reasonable whatever kind of gain we have in interest, it could compound, because if I'm understanding correctly, that's just a raw calculation of the estimate of just what we'd get net value, right? There's not even 1 or 2%
ITCs are baked in there too, and I don't want to overlook that there is approximately 30% of that installed cost is the ITCs, and those will get much, much harder to get as we go forward. The investment tax credits, yeah. So and it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same thing with FIAC, right? So come January 1, we have to deal with FIAC. We don't know what it is. We know it's something. We just don't know what it is. There's no guidance in it. So, in our mind, the best bet is to try to get you to safe harbor. We know what the rules are now. We don't know what they are in January. So how do we get you to safe harbor? These arrays should, in theory, help your roofs because they are shading the roofs. UV is the killer for the roofs. Is it going to extend it, 10 years? Probably not, but it should help. All of the maintenance for all these systems in the PPA is in there. Depending on what the rules are in the future, that may not be the case. The other thing that is kind of overlooked and maybe should be considered is, when you put these on, these panels continue to get more and more efficient. It almost becomes kind of like a lighting proposition at that point. So if you were to put these on now, and in 7, 8, 9 years, the density of the panels show currently they'll make 600 watts per panel. I think it's between 600 and 700 watts. Rewind 10 years, they were making 300. So maybe in 10 years, they're making 1,200. So maybe then this number is a replacement, and the costs go down even more because you're generating more savings, because it becomes more of a lighting proposition with the LEDs versus the fluorescents.
And Mark, correct me if I'm wrong on this, with the PPA savings, that's based on a 3.3% steady increase for the electricity.
Correct.
So if the electricity would go higher, our savings would jump higher in years.
Yep.
So basically, and not to put a bow on this for anybody, but this is just a thought here, is I completely understand Laura's point. What you're handing us to us is a defined equation for the future.
Yeah.
If we wait on one section, are we willing to risk that? And that's something that I'm not exactly comfortable doing. Like when you're here giving us you're tying it up in a nice little bow for us and saying this is what it's going to be for the next 30 years. There is some solace and comfort in knowing that what's coming at us, and we can plan accordingly. But I appreciate Laura because I actually thought the same thing when I was looking at this and playing that conversation out. I did have one question though. When you're talking about it, kind of seeing it as lighting or protecting it from UV, does this save on cooling the building at all? Because you basically have a reflector on top of the...
You do, but there's also a lot of insulation in that roof.
Okay, I just figured
Probably not.
Okay.
You'd be able to see. I had one more point for you, if you don't mind. And if you go forward, I think 2 more slides.
Thickness of that insulation.
Nope, 3 more. 1 more.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
There we go. So this is the other thing. It could potentially alleviate what you're seeing. So we're showing a nice flat increasing rate in our PPA. I think I said this before. There's pretty much 3 parameters that go into the PPA rate, and these are negotiable, and you can set 2 of these. We just need the third to balance the equation. So if you have roof pending in 2034, which is 9 years from now, you could front load more of the savings so that you're banking more of the savings to pay for that upgrade, and then make years 10 through 30 a little less savings. It becomes a kind of a capital planning tool. So.
I have my seat back?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
I just did some quick math, starting with the savings of 104,000, and assuming that it's roughly about $100,000 a year we'd save through year 9 when we'd have to do a quarter of the roof, we would have made $115,000 in interest at 2%. So a return of 2% would net us a quarter of the first quarter of the roof. So there's some, some money to be considered there as well, I think. But
Can answer more questions, or that was pretty much, we kind of jumped around a little bit, but that was essentially the.
Nimble.
Yes.
You were nimble.
I've never been
quick
accused of
question
that
of-
before, but thank you.
Another question. As far as all this, you put this in and now we're going. So one of the things I've gotten from the company that I was dealing with, I know it's a total different residential versus more commercial, but they pretty much send a lot of information out on things that are happening that you can do. Like I said, you learn how to deal with that. So the school can learn that if you do this, it affects your energy usage. Your panels are going to give you what they're going to give you, but if you're actually reducing your usage a little bit here, a little bit there, all adds up, is my point. How much involvement do you guys stay in going forward to help that concept? Because I definitely have that going for me with my organization that I'm working with.
Chris, can you field that one?
It's an excellent question. So we include, it's going to be a little bit of a road to get there, but we have dashboards that we use to share with the school to be able to use in their educational curriculum. But we're diving pretty deep into those to get the information to provide the production guarantees and the PPA costs that we bill. So we're watching that. So we'll start to see if there's like some pretty considerable anomalies in your operation. Like if we, in the past, we've seen things like where schools decided they're going to institute a summer course at an elementary school, and we see a major uptick in their energy use. So, that may lead us to ask some questions. We're not sending out normal, flyers and informational packets all the time, but something that we do offer, and in this case might be beneficial, is much like recommissioning your HVAC systems and lighting systems to get them operating in their most optimal range for comfort and for energy efficiency. There's actually, we've taken our expertise in that and molded it into these solar projects where once the solar is up and running and we can plot that against your interval data of electrical use, we can start to notice things like maybe it makes sense to turn this equipment on 15 or 20 minutes later, or to let it drift at the end of the day. So some common things, but instead of looking at it purely from an energy savings perspective, what we're trying to do is align your demand and your usage up with the production of the solar panels. So we might run your chillers and your cooling systems a little harder during the middle of the day to kind of get a couple more degrees out of them so that you can coast, because your energy in the middle of the day is coming from the solar panels. So there's some things we do there. It's a recommissioning effort. There is some cost associated with it. It is low cost, high return, and it's more in that energy savings contract like your lighting through a GISA project. But definitely something once the system is up and commissioned, we can start it a little bit before that, but it helps once the system's online to really align the solar production with how you use energy. So that might be a little bit of what you see in your residential system, is them sending out information of, instead of, it used to be wait till later in the night when energy is cheaper to do your laundry or run your dishwasher. They might be telling you should run it in the middle of the day because solar's providing your power to you, so it's not pulling from the grid. So it's a lot like that, but on a grander scale for these buildings and maybe how you operate. And having been through the district in the past and done projects there in the past, there's things in place that we can work with your team to align those two better than what they might be to start.
Another question for Bill, if I'm asked. I'm just doing a facility assessment for the University of Memphis, Tennessee. And one of the biggest problems that they've had was drains on the roof. So that's a lot of coverage of the panels. Are they accessible? Because Memphis has a problem with not getting the drains cleaned. Can't get to them.
Not having seen a final design or final layout, I can't say that verbatim, but as we talk, I'm watching Mark shake his head up and down. I'm sure it is one of the things that they take into consideration on panel location is access to roof drains, access to HVAC equipment that's on there, access to exhaust fans that are on there. So I'm sure that's something they take into consideration. But not having seen final design drawings, I couldn't say.
He is correct. We do make sure to provide access to all mechanical equipment, things that you need to get to on your roof.
Yeah, that's a big problem they're having down there, so, all right, thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
So where are we?
I think, I mean, is there anyone, I know the administration wants to recommend it for the next board meeting for approval. Maybe we just go around, get a pulse and see where folks are at.
And we're also recommending the LED at the same time.
Speaking of that, from the funding of that, what's the plan for that?
Sure. As you know, when the audit finishes, we will bring the fund balance allocations to you all, but I'm going to go base it off of last year's ending audit. We ended with $21,424,000 in fund balance. Of that, there was $17,324,000 of committed fund balance. What happens is when the audit comes back and I bring the fund balance to you all to approve, I will have a designated line below the committed stating that it's $610,000 to be set aside out of the amount that's going to be in the committed. And as I had spoke to you all earlier when we talked about the growth that we think we're going to recognize, I do want everybody to start thinking about the possibility of starting to designate some of that towards the HVAC system at the high school. And what happens is it doesn't mean it's written in stone. It means that there has to be a board motion to redesignate it. So it's kind of just legality kind of putting it on paper saying we're setting this money aside, but if something else would come up major and we needed it, we could vote and you all would approve it to move it. But that's what'll happen when I bring it to you. So it will be out of fund balance. And there's kind of a combination of two, it's all of our money put together is what fund balance is. So it's 13 different bank accounts that we have with various amounts in it. The one, as you know, that we track all the time is the one we use for vehicle equipment, and the land sale is in that. And then there's our Pliget with all of our subsidy that comes through. Those are our two biggest amounts of money. But so we're not exactly saying we're going to be taking it out of land sale or we're going to be taking it out of Pliget. We're just going to be designating it out of fund balance.
Dawn, how much have we earmarked or put aside for capital work after our last, at the end of last year? Like, I forget how much we have put aside.
Sure. We've been funding $100,000 to go into the equipment and vehicle replacement plan. We put $300,000 because the estimate was around $350-ish that we would have. Plus, we were getting $230,000 back from the last submittal for the grant that we received for the water remediation. So I was going to have over $500,000 for the concrete, but now we have asphalt, increased prices. But so we do have $400 that we budgeted, and we did receive $228,000 the last payment in this year for the grant for the water remediation.
I don't think I articulated that question well enough.
You're asking what do we have in designated fund balance that can be used towards capital?
Like every year we've put money away, or we've been asked to vote on putting money.
The fund balance assignment after the
For capital, what, do we know what that is? And if we
Not the fund balance assignment, that's this, where we just say where it's going. The capital account is where we budgeted a year ago, 100,000, and we moved that in for the vehicle and equipment. Last year's budget had 400,000 budgeted to go in, so now we put 400,000 in.
No, what I'm asking is, we were asked to vote to say X amount of money was going to go into capital at the end of the year, that we were, the extra money we had left over if we were, had a surplus in the budget, right? There was a certain amount of money that we marked to go for capital, not specifically for MFP, but we had an account or a ledger item, I'm not sure the right word to use, that where we were starting to put money for the HVAC upgrade.
No, that's what I've been discussing. When I bring the fund balance, we need to take a section of whatever the amount is for committed and designate it and approve it.
What is it committed to?
Committed is just that you all have control. You commit to spend that on specific things, not us. It's a definition that came from PDE. Committed is amount constrained to be used for specific purposes as per the government's highest level of decision-making authority, the school board.
So what's the specific purpose that it's?
It says it can be used for OPEB, healthcare, PESers, energy,
What did we,
capital project.
so
This is, I'm going to put up here, because I feel like we're getting like a little tension.
no,
whole
it's not
amount.
intentional.
And I think it's,
No,
Yeah.
this is the item from the board meeting that you're referencing, Tom. This was March 5th of 2005, and this is what you approved. So the disconnect is I think the disconnect is what Dawn is saying we actually approved and what you have in mind about capital.
Right, so we had the 3.8 million, right, that's unassigned fund balance, and then we have to mark that at the end of the year, I thought.
no.
This is the marking of it. This is what you did.
And what I asked of you all is, when I said that it looks like we're going to be to the good this year, I was asking you all, when it comes time to approve fund balance, I would like you all to take an amount that you decide you feel comfortable on and designate that towards the roof so that we can start building upon that.
And it's more of an internal discussion formality in terms of designating it,
Not
right?
necessarily a bank account.
Yeah, this is what we're saying. We're saying we need this much money, and we're having this discussion, and we're all agreeing that that money there is going towards the roof.
Yep.
So I think that was the disconnect. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, we didn't do that last year when we approved it. We
Okay.
approved committed and as it was.
All right. Any other questions regarding this? All right.
So,
Tom,
yeah, no, I was going to say, just if you're for it or against it, just kind of trying to get a pulse on where the board members are at this point. So, just get it. Thumbs up, good.
All right, good enough. Good enough, thank you. So we'll see, hopefully, agreements in November to move forward.
We've already had King Spry review them. I believe they've been redlined and sent back to you all with a few requests to be added in. So once we have them back, they'll be on the November, I believe. Is that okay timeline
That's
for
the
you all?
goal.
They're the base, they're the boilerplate contracts. The contract is actually with the LLC that gets created once you approve the project. So those contracts may lag the approval, but that's common.
Yeah, a little bit of detail on that. When you approve the power purchase agreement contracts for the solar, that allows us to generate the LLC that'll be the holding company for the solar. So you'll make the approval, and the boilerplate we'll just have like a blank LLC title, and then we will fill that in and send it back to you for execution with the LLC title in it. Your agreement is with that group, which is McClure, but it creates a legal entity in between should something happen on either side of that equation. So just a little bit of an update on what that looks like. The lighting contract will come through and will be, when you vote on it, you can execute it at that point.
And those contracts that you did red line and sign back, they're currently being circulated internally for our consideration, I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Consider away.
All right, we good with the ops for tonight?
Unless anyone has anything else.
All right.
I just want to add one thing. I have a friend who works for a watershed group who met with Bill and Dawn this week. She said it was a super productive meeting. She was very impressed by Bill. She told me that he actually was very impressive to her about how much he's trying to save money for the district and thinking ahead. She's actually going to use some of the ideas that you proposed in her new presentations.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she said it was very,
You get royalties for that?
yeah.
I think we need to find out.
She attended the coffee and conversation.
Yeah, and she's super passionate. She does this in her free time, spends like 40 hours a week doing it. She's a professional environmental engineer, but she just said she was very impressed and thinks that he's doing a great job for the district and like saving us money and helping the environment at the same time, so.
Must have been an off day for me.
Thank you to Bill and Dawn and also Mark and Chris and the rest of the team at McClure for the revisions, and, you know, we had multiple sort of check-in points to get to this spot, and also to Tom for being available at the last minute as we needed him. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Remember what we said next time you come back? Yes. Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
I know. All righty. We're going to move on. We're just ready. Can we just jump right into, are we all good to just jump right into it? Okay. So we will turn it over to Mr. Riccaboni for the finance portion of the evening.
Great, thank you. Item 3.1, we had discussed the PSBA resolution to inspire our legislators to break the current gridlock that is taking over the Pennsylvania General Assembly. And so Dawn has a resolution that's been proposed, and we'd like to add it to the agenda for our next regular board meeting. So Dawn, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. This is coming from PSBA, and they want all the school districts to join in unity to kind of send a clear message to the General Assembly to pass a complete and responsible state budget immediately. So that's the gist of what this resolution is. So they're trying to persuade every school district to get on board and sign it so that we can have strength in numbers to say, like, we want you to move forward with getting something accomplished. So.
This is their exact
Yes.
resolution. We haven't made any modifications to it. And it is our hope that we might actually have a budget passed by next week, and so we may not actually have to pass this at the November meeting, but if the board supports it, we would be passing it at the November board meeting.
Any questions, objections to it being added to the meeting?
No. I'll sign it twice.
Okay,
I heard today that they're working on school code, and usually when they get to the school code piece, that means they've gotten the money pretty much hammered out, and they're trying to decide what they're getting for their money.
All right, well, hopefully we won't have to resolute that. Resolve, yes. Resolve. Sorry, Miss Quigg, she's watching somewhere. We'll move to item 3.2. We are a little bit ahead of schedule compared to last year with our audit. Dawn has some updates on that.
Sure. They actually only came in here for 2 days. Most of the work we were able to send electronically and timely, answer the questions. We were all on board. Monday, I did speak with the lead partner from the company, and he said they are about 90% easily through that. So I actually anticipate I might be getting the management and discussion piece to complete sometime next week, and we should have an audit before we go into the Thanksgiving break. So.
Awesome. That would be the earliest in quite some time. Yeah.
Yes. You want to have your AFR, the deadline is October 31st, but you're given an extension until the end of November to complete it. Not too many school districts had their audit done by then. ones that maybe have been with their auditor for years and years, but we're kind of still at the bottom of the barrel trying to move our way up through that. So they start working on their long-term clients first and work us into the mix. So, but we're getting there.
And then finally, this is the Dawn Show. We'll go to any questions on the audit process? Okay, great. 3.3, a budget update.
Sure. We just completed all of the budget templates. We did revise them, how we're doing them. We did 3-year look of actuals, 3-year looks of what was budgeted, and then we did blended amounts. So some may have lost a little bit on their budget, some may have gained a little bit, but we're really digging into them all, right? We just, we had a big change of account codes from PDE, so we had to go through and make all the changes on all the templates, so they did not go out on Friday, because once we finally got all the changes done in our system, we were able to revise them, so they will start going out tomorrow and all be done out by Friday. The request is going to be the end of December, but hopefully before the Christmas break so I can start compiling that. We did meet, I met with our insurance carrier at the beginning of this week, I believe it was. Losing track of all my days. We're looking at about a $20,000 increase in our overall insurance, and that's everything. That's our auto, our cyber, our legal, but it's really in the umbrella part, in the general liability, and they see that. They said they've seen that across all of the carriers, but they are going to be shopping us around for others, especially since we've had the water remediation done, because a lot of carriers are wanting a flood piece added in anymore, and so they're going to see what they can get us without having that piece added into. So we may see some savings when they come back to us, but possibly not. It all depends on what they are going to get back from where they put it out to everybody.
20,000 compared to, like, what's the amount that we pay?
Oh, sure. It's like $320,000 a year that we pay.
Good question.
Sorry.
That 20,000 sounds like a lot, but in the scheme of it, it's relative, yeah.
And we have so many things that we put on to approve, but we will get the general contract, and that'll be on for your approval, and it'll show the breakdown from the prior year, what the actuals came in, and what we're going to be budgeting and for this year. And then we will be I'll be going with Lynn for the superintendents for L-Tri-C and LCTI budgets coming up soon, but I just want to give you guys kind of a little bit of a heads up. We are kind of looking at a higher healthcare. The early look right now is around like in the high teens. We don't know. It changes back and forth, but we are looking at the insurance right now. We have had years that it's come in high. We've had years it's come in low, but we won't know till after the holiday. But that's the other piece of our insurance that we're working on now. So that's where we are with the budget.
All right, any questions? All right, we'll move right along to wrap things up for the evening. I have a couple things for old business that I just want to touch on real quick. This is technically not old business, but there's nowhere else to say it. As you all know, or probably all know, our women's field hockey team won this week and is moving on to the next round of the playoffs. That game is at noon on Saturday at Exeter, and they will be playing work. So good luck to them. Hopefully we'll keep going.
Ticket information will be coming out soon.
Sure. The only other piece of old business I have, and again, this is kind of forced in here, is with the unofficial results of the yesterday and today, we will have an open seat. And I just want to make sure that we're all okay to proceed with advertising for candidates for a 2-year or 4-year seat, so we can get that done as soon as we can in December. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
So in terms of timeline, we would be looking to do the anticipated board vacancy interviews, if we do have that vacancy, on Wednesday, December 3rd at reorg. So we'll get the information out this week. ask our candidates for a letter of interest and a resume, as we've done in the past, and we'll give 2 weeks or so to get that information back to us. That will give the board an opportunity to review the candidates and then determine who will be interviewed, depending on the number of candidates that you get. And then hopefully we would interview and appoint at that December 3rd meeting. And this is all tentative based on the elections being certified.
Yeah,
Are we giving the candidates the questions ahead of time?
I would,
The way we handled it last time was once we knew who we were interviewing, they received an email with, bring this, this, and this, do this, this, and this, and here are the questions, and you have 15 minutes.
And it'll be just one position that's open, right?
correct.
That's what we anticipate at this time, based on the unofficial elections. It could be either a 4-year term or a 2-year term.
All righty. All right, well, with that, our next meeting will be December 3rd, and we are,
Yeah, we have a November board meeting, but the December 3rd would be reorg with ops, everything in one night.
all right, we're adjourned.